At 85, Al Pacino breaks his silence. After decades of silence, the legendary actor has finally decided to speak out. And what he says shocks even Hollywood. Once known as a man of mystery and restraint, Pacino now reveals something darker. A list of 5 stars he could never forgive. 5 names that shaped his career, betrayed his trust, and haunted him for years. Some people, he says quietly, you never really get over. But why now? What could push one of Hollywood's greatest icons to speak like this, after so many years of dignity and silence? The truth, insiders say, lies in a lifetime of rivalry, betrayal, and wounded pride. And so we arrive at his list. 5 names, 5 stories deeper than anyone imagined. Let's begin with number 5. Number 5, Jack Nicholson. For years, Al Pacino and Jack Nicholson were seen as the twin titans of American cinema. 2 men who defined intensity, madness, and raw emotion on screen. But behind the scenes, their friendship was far from golden. It was rivalry disguised as respect. According to insiders, the tension began in the late 70s. When Pacino lost the lead role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a part he was once rumored to be the studio's first choice for. The role went to Nicholson. The movie won 5 Oscars, and Pacino never forgot. Jack didn't steal it, a producer recalls Pacino saying years later. But he didn't turn it down either. Their paths crossed again in the 90s. Same directors, same scripts, same awards. Every time one succeeded, the other was asked about it. The press loved comparing them. Pacino hated it. The final crack came in 2003 when Nicholson made a subtle dig during a private dinner in Beverly Hills. According to a witness, Jack leaned back, smiled, and said, "You're great, Al. Just a little too serious to have fun being famous." Pacino left early that night and never spoke to him again. Friends say he still respects Nicholson's craft, but despises the arrogance. In Pacino's words, some men play the devil on screen. Some never take the costume off. Number 4, Sean Penn. They were supposed to understand each other. 2 actors obsessed with truth, rawness, and rebellion. But for Al Pacino, Sean Penn crossed a line long ago. Their tension began during the late 1980s, when both men were circling the same kind of roles: tortured anti-heroes, loners, men on the edge. Penn admired Pacino publicly, calling him a master of emotional violence. But privately, insiders say, he started mocking Pacino's intensity, calling it old-school method acting that no longer scares anyone. The real fallout came in 1993 during the production of Carlito's Way. Penn, who played the slick lawyer, was supposed to be Pacino's ally on screen. Instead, he became a rival behind the camera. Crew members whispered that Penn often demanded extra takes, not for quality, but to upstage Pacino's performance. One insider put it bluntly: it wasn't about acting anymore. It was ego versus legend. Pacino stayed silent, but the hurt lingered. Years later, when Penn won his first Oscar for Mystic River, Pacino was asked if he had congratulated him. He paused, smiled faintly, and said, "Sean doesn't need congratulations. He needs peace." That single sentence told everything: disappointment, pride, and a wound that never fully healed. Those close to Pacino say he still considers Penn a great actor, but one poisoned by arrogance and jealousy. "Some men fight for truth," Pacino once said, "and some fight just to prove they're right." Number 3, Kevin Spacey. When Kevin Spacey first met Al Pacino in the mid-1990s, he called him the godfather of all serious acting. Pacino smiled politely. He'd heard that kind of flattery before. But what began as admiration quickly turned into something darker: manipulation. They worked together on Glengarry Glen Ross and later crossed paths at several award circuits. Spacey, hungry for validation, often tried to imitate Pacino's tone, gestures, even his pauses. What others saw as homage, Pacino saw as theft. "He studied me like a textbook," Pacino once muttered, but he never understood the soul behind the words. Insiders claim Pacino began avoiding Spacey after hearing how the younger actor bragged at parties that he could out-Pacino Pacino. Still, nothing prepared him for what came years later: the scandal that shattered Spacey's career. When accusations against Spacey exploded, reporters resurfaced old interviews linking the two men. One headline even called Pacino the mentor who kept his distance. Pacino hated that phrase. He never wanted to be associated with Spacey again. At a private dinner in 2018, when asked if he still respected the fallen star, Pacino simply said, "Respect is earned in the dark, not lost in the light." Friends close to him say Spacey's story reminded Pacino of the cost of ego and how talent without conscience is nothing but poison. "Kevin was brilliant," Pacino admitted once. But brilliance means nothing if it blinds you. Number 2, Bruce Willis. It started with a simple misunderstanding and ended with silence that lasted decades. In the late 1980s, Al Pacino was already a living legend, while Bruce Willis was the new tough guy on the block, Hollywood's rising symbol of rebellion after Die Hard. For a short time, producers wanted the two men to star together in a crime thriller. Pacino liked the script. Willis wanted to rewrite it. According to insiders, that's where everything broke. During a private meeting in Beverly Hills, Willis allegedly told Pacino, "Your movies are all talk. Mine are the reason people buy tickets." Pacino froze. He didn't respond. He just walked out. The deal died that night. Years later, Willis joked about it in an interview, saying, "Pacino takes acting too seriously. It's just a job." For Pacino, those words cut deep. To him, acting was never just a job. It was religion. It was survival. When Willis's health struggles became public decades later, Pacino refused to comment. No anger, no sympathy, just silence. But one of his oldest friends revealed, Al didn't hate Bruce for what he said. He hated what it represented, a generation that forgot what art costs. To this day, he keeps that resentment quiet, buried behind his calm voice and tired smile. "Some people fight for fame," Pacino once said. "I fought for meaning. That's the difference between us." Number 1, Mel Gibson. Among all the names on Al Pacino's list, none carried more pain or more disappointment than Mel Gibson. What began as admiration turned into disgust. In the early 1990s, both men were at the top of their game. Pacino respected Gibson's discipline, his fierce commitment on set. They even discussed working together on a passion project, a historical epic about betrayal and faith. But the collaboration never happened, not because of schedules, but because of words. According to a producer present at the meeting, Gibson made an offhand remark about Hollywood being too soft for real men. Pacino didn't laugh. He asked, "What do you mean by real?" Gibson smirked and said, "Men who don't pretend to feel, they just act." That sentence ended everything. Pacino quietly got up and left the room. Years later, when Gibson's scandals erupted, the violent outbursts, the offensive recordings, the public disgrace, Pacino refused to comment publicly. But insiders say he was deeply shaken. He wasn't angry, one friend revealed. He was sad. It confirmed everything he feared about fame and ego. In a rare conversation with a journalist, Pacino was asked what he thought about redemption. His reply was calm, almost whispering. Everyone deserves a second chance. But some never learn why they needed one. To this day, those who know him say Gibson's fall from grace became, for Pacino, a warning. A reminder that brilliance without humility always burns itself out. "I've seen men destroy themselves," Pacino said. "And they always call it destiny." For years, Hollywood whispered about Al Pacino's secret list. Most thought it was just legend, the invention of tabloids. But what few knew was that the list was real, handwritten, and kept in a drawer inside his New York apartment. A close friend once caught a glimpse of it during a quiet dinner. 5 names, no explanations, just one line written beneath them. "These men taught me who not to become." That sentence changed everything. It wasn't about hatred. It was about warning, a reflection of how fame can twist talent, how pride can rot genius from the inside out. Insiders now say Pacino began writing that list not out of bitterness, but as therapy, a way to forgive himself for trusting the wrong people, for losing friends to ego and envy. And even now, at 85, he keeps that paper, folded, worn, untouched. A reminder that behind every legend lies a battlefield, and behind every smile, a scar that never fully heals. Today, at 85, Al Pacino stands as one of the last living giants of an era long gone, an age when acting was art, not algorithm. He's seen brilliance rise and decay, loyalty turn into betrayal, and fame swallow people whole. When asked recently if he still carries resentment, Pacino smiled faintly and said, "No, I carry memories. The kind that teach you the price of love and ambition." To him, the list was never about vengeance. It was about truth, the painful kind that strips away illusion. Those 5 names represent everything he fought against: arrogance, vanity, the hunger for control. Now, living quietly between New York and Los Angeles, Pacino rarely speaks of the past. But those who've sat with him say that when he does, his voice softens, almost like confession. "Fame," he once whispered, "isn't a gift. It's a mirror. And most people don't like what they see." It's a reminder that behind every spotlight lies shadow, and that even legends bleed in silence.